No, 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 no. The reason I'm telling you not to worry about the exhaust samples is because it's not a thing. They tricked you, 100%. Yep. I mean, like, you could run around for like another hour or so, but I'll just save you the trouble. Yep. They done you dirty. Oh, how you doing? Dust off 3-2, Jojo Medic. So when we left off last time, we were dropping our amputee that we rescued out of the grove out there by Topware at the hospital, and I was reminiscing on some of the things that are burnt into my memory. But moving on, we were on our way to our next mission, and we got diverted to a more urgent patient, a local national. She was a small woman, maybe in her 70s. Of course, Afghanistan guys, Afghanistan people, they age really quickly. So maybe guesstimated 70s. She might have been 50 because that country is a hard place to live and it ages you fast. She was naked and catatonic. Her head was light, and I remember picking up her head and thinking, wow, she probably weighed 100 pounds, even with the O2 tank on the litter. Just, she was so tiny. We got to Hero. Hero's that Afghan hospital to drop her off. No one there spoke English, so me and this other medic, we had to turn tail and run out of there. If I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, she probably didn't make it out of that hospital because she had a gunshot wound to the abdomen and no one there who was willing to treat her. And it was frustrating because it's not like we can take her somewhere else. She's assigned to that hospital. We have to take her there. And so it's like kind of like a death sentence. And that was kind of hard for me to pull away and head out to the next mission because our part in her care was done and we had to go. So it was kind of difficult. We got back to Cop Wilson to get our priority mission, and we picked up that guy, and he was on board when we had to go do a follow-on urgent at a hot landing zone. Hot landing zone is a landing zone that is hotly contested. It's where there's enemy present and they're still engaging with troops there. So we're gonna have to go in while they're under fire and extract this patient, which is very hard to do a lot of times when you have to go into these hot LZs. I always feel like there's a bullet out there with my name on it because it doesn't have anything to do with skill or anything like that. It's just a crapshoot whenever you have to land there like that. When we were out there to get this urgent patient, we were trying to think of a way to get this guy out without taking battle damage and getting shot at, and all of a sudden Long Knife came over the radio. What a blessing. Long Knife was the Kiowas, the 68s. The Army got rid of them a little over a decade ago. But they came over the radio and they said, hey, we each have 2 rockets, so we got 4 rockets. We can go ahead and soften those guys up for you, and you guys can go in and make your extraction. We're like, great, let's do it. And so these guys were shooting these rockets into these compounds where the enemies were, and we had to swoop in and grab this A&A, which is like your Afghan army guy, and pick him up while these guys were blowing up the enemy, which was kind of fun to not get shot at and know that the enemy was getting engaged with rockets instead of the ground troops. The ground troops also neutralized the threat as well as we were doing the patient extraction. I saw a local national get tossed on the helicopter. He was caked in dried mud and blood. Fresh tourniquets were placed. Bleeding was controlled, and we gave him an IV and pushed some fentanyl in him to calm him down. And Afghans, it's roll of the dice if fentanyl or morphine is going to do anything for them because they have so much opium in their country. But that seemed to work. But it was kind of hard to focus because your pilot's flying doors off, and there was a whole bunch of dirt flying around the cabin. And all of a sudden, I was getting the grit in my teeth, and I realized I'm not just eating dirt. I'm eating. It kind of tastes sweet and coppery, so I'm eating blood and dirt as it's blowing around the cabin, and there was nowhere to get away from it. It was everywhere. And as I realized I was eating this blood-dirt mix, I also realized at that time there was no escaping it, and hurried and got this guy out to Hero again. And this time at Hero, I recognized that there wasn't anyone really attending to the woman that we left there, but she hadn't died either, so I think she probably got some attention, I hope. But we got back to Kandahar, and then after that we had to go back out to the Pak border to get an eye injury. This guy was like he was walking, so we were able to just bring him onto the helicopter and just monitor him. Got back to home station. Started doing run sheets for a couple more hours, and then after that, it was 10 o'clock at night. And I'm sleeping without a radio tonight, thank goodness. Dust Off 3-2, JoJo Medic out.